Okay, welcome to Chapter 4. I'm going to quickly run through this. I want to spend some time on getting the Expo class right here set up inside of your program. But before I do things in this video, I need to pause the video so I can get my mouse set up because it's annoying me. There we go. I was looking for this little feature right here. Okay, so let's go through the text real quick. You should download this book. You should do your notes, read it. Okay, so what we're looking at in this chapter, and you can see the title right here. Actually, you can't see the title because it doesn't have much to say, but what we're looking at is organization within Java. We're looking at some of the different components, some of the terms we're looking at is keyword, such as the word public. Then we have program statements. You should know this stuff by now. The methods, this is very important, okay, because we've been using the method for main, and we're going to start using a lot more methods. And we're also going to start using something else called classes. You've already created some very basic classes within your programs, nothing super serious. But now we're going to start incorporating other classes and start making our own classes and have them all interact with each other, which is the ultimate goal. Okay, make sure you go through, read all the rules, have that down. There's some other rules that are unspoken that are more preference and organization based. Again, I'm going to let you go through all these lessons. My main goal is to find in here where we start using something in particular. You can read this and figure it out. That's the math class. Okay, you can see it right there. Make sure you got your parentheses all lined up. Everything's spelled correctly. Zoom in if you need to. Oh, let's talk about the period separates the class identifier from the method identifier. So what's happening is, think as the period as a link in a sentence that allows you to expand different options within that particular entity. And that's a human way of saying, here's the math class. We're using the math class. We put the dot, and by putting the dot, that says we can use any public method inside the math class. So math is right here. It's a class. It has tons of different functions and methods inside of it. When I say function, just so you know, that can be used interchangeably with the word method. In our world, in the higher level worlds, someone might disagree with you. For now, it works. Okay, so math dot, and then the method we choose is square root. So that allows us to access that within the, I'm going to zoom in here, that particular method with the class. Okay, and let's see. I can't think if I forgot anything. Just so you know, the information that gets passed inside of these methods, those are called arguments, and he talks about it right here. So make sure you read this material. If you're just watching this video thinking, I'm going to go through the entire chapter, that's incorrect. I'm not going to do that because it's very important to read and gather information. That's going to be a primary source of information as you go through this. The video is a better way to give you a quick breakdown. Again, work these examples, experiment with this stuff, manipulate the variables, see what happens, see what happens if you change it from integers to double values, and just, look for all the different results. Okay, let's see, floor, ceiling, round methods. These are more math methods, and you can see where we have math class dot, and then we call it a different method name and pass in different values. And just so you know, some methods require certain values to go in, whether they're integers or double values. Just really depends on the method and how it was created. So make sure you explore those. These are all kind of self-explanatory. Trying to think if there's something. Pi and E math fields, these are called final. Right here's the term final. And what that means is, since pi is a final number, you can't really change pi. You don't need to recalculate pi. It's already been done for you. So we just use the static final term for pi, okay? So that way we always have a constant value that we can go and get from the math class, okay? And the same for E, which is for logarithm. We won't use the E much, but we will use pi. You're more than welcome to use E if you want to. You can see we put it right there. Okay, Expo class. This is where it gets fun. Okay, Expo class is a class that was created by the author of this book, and it's not part of Java. It was created by the author to use with Java. And sorry, I'm trailing off here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use the Expo class in your labs and download it. You need to be very, very organized when you're performing these, because if not, when you start doing your labs, you'll get very confused. Okay, so let's go and look at a lab. Make sure you've done all the programming practice before you jump in the lab, because I'm going to infer that you've done it. So let's pull up lab 04B. And if you go through the instructions right here, it's going to tell you that you need to use the Expo class, okay? And down here it gives you different methods from the Expo class on how to perform particular functions. Again, the author created the Expo class to help mitigate the instructions, to make them a little bit easier. Sometimes it's true, sometimes it's not. Sometimes using the regular Java methods would be easier than the Expo class, but nonetheless, it's a good experience to see how to use a class and use the dot method to get those methods from that class. All right, I meant dot notation. All right, so here's our lab. We'll need the Expo class. If we go back to our Google Classroom, you'll notice we have expo.java, and then down here we have a file called lab04B. That's your first one. There is no lab04A. I removed that one. I just thought it was kind of overkill. So you need two files, lab04B.java and then expo.java. So what you want to do is you want to download these. Oops, excuse me. All right, let me manipulate my window here. Okay, so I'm going to right click, choose open a new tab. Then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to select download. Okay, download the Expo class file. And once you download it, I'm going to go to my download folders because there's Expo class. I'm going to cut it out of my downloads folder. You only need to do this once. Okay, a lot of people make the mistake of downloading Expo class multiple times. If you do, it's going to end up looking something like this. Watch what happens when I download it again. Okay, so I downloaded it. I come back to my folder. This is a big mistake. Okay, whoops, wrong folder. Here's the right folder. You'll notice now we have two Expo classes, but what it's done is renamed this expo parentheses 1.java. That's a huge error because it won't run anymore because the file name is different than the class name. So make sure we get the original file, cut it out, go put it in your Java folder. Yours should be on your desktop. If you haven't been programming your folder on your desktop, go ahead and start making it happen. So here's my Java 2017 folder. I'm going to come right click and choose paste, and there's my Expo class. Next I'm going to come back and get my other file. I'm going to close that, go back to Classroom, and it's down here at the bottom. So I'm going to right click, open a new tab. It shows up right here. It prints it out for you, but you don't want that. You want to click on the download button again right there. And it should show up in your downloads folder. Okay. Oh, wrong folder. And again, wrong folder. Oh, that was a wrong folder. Okay, so there we go. There's the file I just downloaded. Right click, choose cut. I'm going to go to my desktop, get back into my Java 2017, right click, and paste. Okay, this is very important. And I'm going to pull this up in JGrasp. So what you're going to see is the lab04BST file, and it's going to call methods from the Expo class. And in order for it to do so, to call methods from the Expo class, okay, you have to have the Expo file in the same exact folder location as this file. Okay, so your lab04B, which is right here, it's calling on the Expo class. These both have to be in the same folder. If Expo class is not in the same folder, you're going to get errors. You're also going to get errors if you don't do this. Run this file off your desktop. If you're running this off your H drive, you're going to get errors. I'm not going to tell you what's wrong. I'm going to tell you to go watch the video and figure it out. But if you're watching the video, you won't have those errors. So if you know somebody that's having those errors, you should laugh at them and encourage them to come and watch the video because I explain how to avoid the errors. Here's what the error will look like if the Expo class is not in here. I'm going to cut it out, just remove it. Actually, I'll just cut out and delete. All right, so we come back over here and I decide to run my file. And okay, you can see the arrows. It says it cannot find symbol. That term right there means it can't find this class, okay? It can't find this information. So it's nowhere. It can't see it anywhere. All right, that means the Expo class is not in the folder. So you need to go through your folder and make sure it's inside of there. And if it is, it's no longer there. So if I go back to my downloads, I could put this one in here. Let's watch what happens with that. So I come back to the folder, desktop, I cut that one out. I'm showing you some errors here. Right click, choose paste. Now I got the expo parentheses with 1 inside of it. Come back to my file and I try to run it. Again, it's going to give me the error, cannot find the symbol, because the class name is expo. It's not this file that's been called expo parentheses 1. So what you'd want to do in that situation, and I don't encourage you to get in the situation, is delete the parentheses 01, enter, and come back, try to run it again, and you should have some pretty good results, and an applet window should pop up like so. Okay, you should have that on your screen. If the applet window doesn't pop up, that means you're on your H drive. And again, you need to come back and watch the video. So that should get you started for chapter 4, and good luck.